Like Texas high school football? You've come to the right place. Like elite Texas high school football? Well, it doesn't get any better than Denton County. Here at the Denko Gridiron Show podcast, we talk about your town and your team and cover Denton County schools the way they deserve to be covered. Whether you're a Wildcat, Raider, Falcon, or Eagle, a Marauder, Jaguar, Warrior, Bronco, or Bengal, we're here to discuss your team and have a lot of fun doing it along the way. With live guests and fun giveaways, you can catch the show live each week on Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. on Facebook Live. All right. Welcome to the Denko Gridiron Show. We're getting started here shortly on a cold, rainy Wednesday night. All right. Hey, as always, please share the stream, comment. We'll try to answer your questions live during the show. If not, we'll answer them throughout the week. And we always got a few people on here that can let us know if audio's good, if the stream is good. So chime in on that. I think I see Newspaper Steve potentially on here early. Denton Record Chronicles' own Brady Keene. Always appreciate y'all joining. We are the Denko Gridiron Show, live every Wednesday night, bringing you everything Denton County football. You want to stay tuned tonight. We've got special guest Dave Henigan, head coach of the Denton Ryan Raiders, live in studio. He made it up from a sub-varsity game to join us. We appreciate that. Let me see if I can bring up Mr. Adam Boedeker. I believe he's somewhere in Denton County. Hello, Adam.
Hello. How's it going?
Adam did make it. Welcome to the show. Award-winning sports writer, Adam Boedeker.
You know, I don't.
You want me to cut that?
No.
Okay. You like that, right?
Yeah.
Makes you feel good?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think it was too hard a decision to get Coach Henigan here in this weather tonight. I don't think I'd want to be watching a sub-varsity game in this, right?
Yeah, we'll ask him later if he opted out maybe at halftime to come up here in the warm confines of the Denko Gridiron studio. So that's always good. Hey, we do want to thank our sponsor. Let me bring him up on the screen because in a couple Saturdays, actually not this Saturday, but Saturday, November 3rd, we'll be on that patio right there, Boedeker. I've got the picture pulled up at Verf's Grill and Tavern in Highland Village. It's going to be a lot of fun. We did that last year. There it is. It's right on 407, and I believe at the cross-section of Morris Drive. Is that right? 407 and Morris.
Yep.
We're going to do brunch there, and we had some feedback from the fans, and they said, hey, start a little later. You know, after a Friday night game, they want to start. We're going to start at 11 a.m., go from 11 to 12:30 versus the 10 a.m. start time we did a few Saturdays ago. So, hey, Steve, Newspaper Steve is on here. We appreciate that. Dave Henigan in the house. Appreciate that, Steve. Newspaper Steve, the beat writer for Denton Ryan Raiders. It's always good. Boedeker, what's been going on here in Denton County? I know you're all over the place doing lots of different things, all things football this time of year.
Yeah, I've just been a busy guy and tired of this rain, man. I've never been one to complain about rain, but this is getting kind of ridiculous. Luckily, it's just a one-day thing this week, but it's literally rained hard since like 9:30 this morning, and it hasn't stopped. And I just about died coming up here about 3 times. 35 north by the mall.
Hydroplaning?
Were
you hydroplaning?
No, it was just dark, and you can't see the lane markers, and pouring rain. It's bad. Be careful if you're out there driving. I guess you wouldn't be watching this, hopefully, or you really need to be careful. But
I think Newspaper Steve, you know, I've always questioned the point spreads on these high school games. I think Newspaper Steve set an over-under on if we were going to start the show on time. And I think the over-under was set at 8:05. So whoever bet the under is the winner. We started at 8:03, Newspaper Steve.
There you go.
So that's the official start time, 8:03. All right. We want to dig into the show. We want to get started here soon so we can get Coach Henigan on. I know a lot of the Denton Ryan Raider Nation will be tuned in tonight, amongst all the other teams that we cover. Got a lot to talk about, that's for sure. You ready to get this thing
As
going?
a longtime beat writer for Geyer, I know all the Ryan fans just absolutely love me. So Looking forward to some comments.
Well, they're here. They're probably here to see Coach Henigan, not us, right?
Yeah.
We've learned that. It's always about having the right
it's
content
never about us.
And talking about, the community. That's why we did this thing, is talk about the community. So let's get this thing rolling there, Boedeker. Anything else? Are you covering any games this week?
I'm not this week. Got some stuff going on. So
yeah, we were. You're talking about the weather. We were teased. I know Coach Henigan's from, I believe, I know somewhere in California. We'll ask him later. I think Southern California.
Yeah.
And we had a Southern California day yesterday. It was like 74 and sunny, but today was nasty.
Not Southern California.
Yeah. So again, live remote November 3rd at Verfs. We will have special guest Coach Dave Henigan on here momentarily, but let's get into and remind everybody to share this. A lot of you will watch the replay. You've got family commitments, church on Wednesday nights. You're at a sub-varsity game. So make sure you share this, watch the replay, comment, and we'll answer your questions throughout the week. Boedeker, let's hop into game recaps.
Let's do it.
First up is Geyer and Keller. Denton Geyer was on the road at Keller last week and came out with a victory.
Yeah, this game was, it was funny just because we talk about the point spreads and computer rankings, and I think Geyer's a perfect example of where you can't trust the computer rankings because it's taking in those first two games against Toledo and Cedar Hill into account, where they got outscored I think it was 68-0. So Keller was actually favored in this game, which you
knew that was a little bit of an outlier. The algorithm was off on that one, right?
And Geyer controlled the game. They were up, I think they were up 24-7 in the third quarter. And then Keller sort of made it interesting with a couple of onside kicks that they recovered, a couple of late scores, but Geyer scored in the closing minutes and won by 2 touchdowns. So I think the actual game itself was probably not even that close. Geyer dominated on the ground. They didn't throw the ball very much. They didn't have to. Kadrick Cos ran for 187 and 2 touchdowns, and also caught a touchdown pass from Eli Stowers. So we talked about it for a few weeks now. I think Geyer is officially back. And
the sophomore Eli Stowers starting to get his feet under him, starting to be more comfortable there in the pocket, running that offense.
And I think he ran for over 100 in that game. Like I said, he didn't throw very much, but he didn't really need to. So, Geyer went back to their bread and butter, doing what they do best, and they made Keller pay for it. So,
that's right.
So a good win for Geyer because Keller is legit. I mean, they almost beat South Lake Carroll earlier this year in a shootout. Their offense is really good, and that Geyer just showed how good their defense is in that game.
And we'll talk a little later in the show on Boedeker's Beast about defensively some of the things they did to shut down that offense. So next up, your alma mater, the Marcus Marauders at Capel. I believe they were on the road, correct?
Yeah.
Come up a little short. That's got to be a tough loss on a Friday on a at any level, whether it's college, pro, you come up on the short end, much like the Dallas Cowboys did this past weekend. It's got to be a long week of practice in the field house, in the hallways of the school.
Yeah, Marcus, they were right there in this game. I mean, Capel kicked a 52-yard game-winning field goal. I think that's the second time their kicker has kicked a 50-plus-yard field goal to win the game, in the very end. I think they've won, I think it's 2 or maybe even 3 straight 1-point wins for Capel. So that was a big win for them. They stayed 3-1 in district play for Capel, and Marcus fell to 2-2. So it's, they have a huge game this week that we'll talk a little bit more about later against Mound. But, I think Marcus is safe as far as the playoffs go, just because they're really dealing with either Louisville or the Irving schools. So, actually the Battle of the Axe, Marcus Louisville, last game of the year is going to be probably for a playoff spot, most likely. But it was a tough loss for Marcus because they were right there on the road, and they had won. They had it won, so it was tough.
Yeah. Next up, and this welcome Rob Mosley joins Betty Tuggle, folks that have been fans of the show since last year. So we appreciate y'all tuning in. As always, make sure you share the broadcast. Hey, next up, Boedeker, Flower Mound Jaguars against Hebron. Everybody was picking Hebron, and upset. The Jags win this one 38-35.
Yeah, this was pretty shocking. I mean, like I said many times, I love what Flower Mound has done this year. But I didn't see him winning this game. I mean, Hebron is an established, power as far as teams in this district go. And Flower Mound, as we talked about last week, is kind of getting there and learning how to be there, but they aren't where Hebron is yet. Well, now they clearly are because, they won this big game, scored with 6 minutes left to win the game. Defense held strong, and Flower Mound is undefeated in district play, which I have to say I didn't see coming. And I texted
Coach
with
Baza. We talk about what he's doing there
Friday night after that game, and he was understandably pretty excited about the win. I mean, it was a big one for his program, not just for the fact that they're undefeated, but just kind of to show that they've arrived. Kind of, I think Flower Mound's in the lead in this district, which I didn't think I would be saying, but they still have to play Coppell, which will be a tough game. But at this point, it might be hard to pick against Flower Mound.
And that's always fun, being the fan of the show, seeing the underdog win and what it does for a program. A young 16, 17, 18-year-old young man that pours his heart and soul into the off-season conditioning and all that to come out with a victory like that is what's special about Texas high school football, no doubt about it. Boedeker, Paris. Next up is Paris and Argyle. This was a little closer than most people thought.
Yeah, it was. Paris is always super athletic. They're a team that was right on the brink of being, top 10, depending on what poll you look at. I think they were 12 in the AP poll. Dave Campbell's poll, they were 9. It's a really good team, and Argyle got them at home where they haven't lost in 30-something game or 30 games, which is, I guess, about 6 years, which is pretty crazy that they haven't lost a home game in that long. But they battled back and forth. I think Paris is kind of one of those offenses that doesn't try to trick you at all. They just do what they do, and Argyle, their defense was up for the challenge because they forced 7 turnovers in that game, which 5 or 7. Let's see. Oh yeah, 7. To win a game by 8 points where you force 7 turnovers, you have to think, even if Paris cut those turnovers in half, they'd probably win that game. So,
oh yeah, that's crazy. 7 turnovers.
Yeah, Argyle's defense deserves a lot of credit for that win. Paris is a really good team, and they showed it. But Argyle is the cream of the crop, and there's a reason why they're the right up there with anybody as far as being a championship favorite with like Carthage and those type of programs.
Yeah, as a coaching staff, boy, 7 turnovers, that probably keep you up way into the morning, Saturday morning after a Friday night game.
Yeah, probably so.
Hey, next up, and we'll get obviously his thoughts on this one too. Denton Ryan continues just blowing people out, 59-21 over Creekview.
This is a game that Ryan, quite frankly, probably should win like this, but they did what they're supposed to do to take care of business. And once again, man, their defense has just been incredible. You say what you want say enough about the offense doing what they've done this year, kind of after remaking themselves after losing Spencer Sanders and that great group of receivers they had. But the defense is, I've never seen anything like this. I think, I could be wrong about this, but I think they've scored a defensive touchdown in every game. I'm sure Steve will correct me if I'm wrong, but I know they have 9 defensive scores. One of those is a safety, so 8 touchdowns in 7 games. They had 2 in this one, 2 fumble returns for touchdowns. It's been pretty special to watch. I mean, I've never seen anything like that, and I'd be interested to see if Coach Henigan has when we have him on in a second. But, it's pretty crazy